Hi everyone, welcome back to SmugMug Live, wherever you are in the world. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is episode 104, streamed live on Tuesday, the 31st of August, 2021. Thank you so much for joining me. Those of you that have been here before, you know what to do. Get yourself in that chat window. Let me know what part of the world you are joining me from. So give yourself a shout out in the chat window. And if you have any questions for our guest today, then post those questions in the chat. We would love to hear from you in that chat window. So do not be shy. Get in there and say hello. As always, do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button, hit that little bell notification. That way you will be notified whenever we release another episode here on SmugMug Live. And not only episodes of SmugMug Live, but when we release a new SmugMug film, you will be notified and you'll be able to watch those straight away. And then today's show is all about our latest film that we just released last week, one of our One Day One Artist series featuring the amazing Alex Qian. And Alex is joining us today. Hi Alex, how are you?
Hey, Alistair. I'm great. Thanks for having me. And thanks for including me as a part of this production. It's been really a really cool experience.
Yeah, well, it's our honour to have you here today with us. And we're not alone because we also have the wonderful Anton Lorimer joining us. Hi, Anton, how are you?
Hey, how's it going, man? Good to be here.
Good to see you. Anton, of course, is our in-house filmmaker at SmugMug and makes the wonderful films that we release here on the channel. We got lots of people in the chat window already, gentlemen, just to let you know. Give some shout outs to James, who's joining us from Canyon Lake in California. Groundhog 11ish, hello, wherever you are. Eric is joining us from Phoenix, Arizona. Hi, Eric. Mike joining us from Cincinnati in Ohio, and Kim is joining us from Seattle. Very US-centric audience at the moment. So come on, folks, get in that chat window. Let us know where you're joining us from. It's always great to see you. Mike says, I really enjoyed the Chicago shoot with Alex. Yep, and indeed, that's why we're here. The latest One Day One Artist film, it was all about you, Alex, and we followed you to your hometown in Chicago. But where are you today? Where are you joining us from?
So I currently live in Los Angeles. I moved out here actually not too long ago in February, so I've only been out here for about 6 months. But that's actually a big part of my story is that I'm still fairly fresh in terms of like time, but kind of poured everything into my craft and it's been accelerating very quickly. So I'm now here kind of chasing the dream, right? That's what people come to LA for. So
And you thought it was easier to chase that dream in LA than in Chicago?
yeah, well, I don't know. Actually, we'll see. I guess time will tell. I think like I grew up in Chicago and I lived there for a majority of my life. And I went to school there. I stayed in Chicago after school to work in what I was doing before in financial services. And I think like I had to leave. It could have been somewhere else. LA just somehow filled that gap for me. But had to leave to kind of like grow in the ways I needed to, I guess. So
Yeah, that's great to hear. The first time we all met was actually in LA. Anton and I were in LA together at a photography festival in LA, and that's where we first connected with you, Alex. And that was, can you remember when that was? I'm kind of losing track. Anton, 2000 and something, 18?
I think
Two or three.
17 or 18.
Yeah,
Wow.
can't believe
Well, time
it's
flies.
that long ago. It still feels like 2019 though. That's the problem. We're all kind of in limbo at the moment. So yeah, so we met you in LA and we got connected and we started looking at your work. And Anton, straight away you thought Alex is someone you would really like to tell his story, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I love his work. He posts a fair amount of videos too on his socials, so you get an idea of what he's like and what he's into. Thought he'd be perfect candidate for this series and what he shoots. It's very interesting. It's kind of this cross between street photography sometimes and the cityscape. It's just beautiful. So If he was on board for the project, we kind of just need to figure out the logistics and what we wanted to do, where we wanted to shoot, and we landed on Chicago. So
Taking you back to your hometown. Chicago is one of my favorite cities in the whole world, and that was before I even thought of it photographically. It is a fantastic city to photograph in. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what helped. I guess like get my work noticed too. Is like Chicago is a city that like kind of flies under the radar as far as like just like major cities go, especially in terms of photography. But like it's situated in an area right on a lake, a massive lake in the U.S. where it gets actually really cool weather patterns. So uh, I just like through a process of like learning, you know, starting with like drones and then like moving into like DSLRs and uh, just trying to find different ways to grow through, the craft. I found different ways to capture the city, and and then yeah, now I'm happy that like I'm able to show that work, to people. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a great city just to walk around. So doing that with a camera is very compelling. What I'd like to do now is I'm going to show a little trailer of the film, just the first intro of the film. So those of you who are watching today, if you haven't seen the film yet, don't go watch it yet. Wait till this live stream is over, and then here on this YouTube channel you can watch One Day One Artist with Alex Qian. But here is the little intro for you to whet your appetite.
Yeah, so right now we're gonna do what pretty much started my journey. Was I just used to do this for fun. We used to hunt for really cool locations and different perspectives in the city. As a content creator, I definitely feel that I'm a photographer first, but at the same time I'm also a filmmaker, online personality, digital artist. Art has become content, and in this new age it's more beneficial to kind of balance all these different skill sets. You want me looking in the camera? Okay. All right, 3, 2, 1. My name is Alex Qian. I am a creator based out of Los Angeles. I am back in my hometown of Chicago. The plan for today is that there really is no plan. We're gonna run around to some of my old stomping grounds, my favorite spots here in the city, and just see what we can get.
There we go. A little tease of the film. Just the first 1 minute of the film there. Everybody has been loving the film. Gentlemen, I've had so many people reach out to me from communities all over the world that have really enjoyed seeing your little day that you spent together in Chicago. So thank you both for putting that together. And if you haven't seen it yet, folks, as soon as we're done here, head over to that film here on the YouTube channel. So what is the most, your favorite thing, Alex, when it comes to walking around a city? Is it the buildings, the people, the movement? What is it that attracts you? Or is it all the above?
Yeah, it's all the above. I grew up in the suburbs, northwest suburbs of Chicago, so not a very exciting like lifestyle. And yeah, it just kind of led into me going to school in the city. Always kind of like feeling like I was more motivated. Just being around a lot of activity and stuff like that. And I think that's just how like my mind works too. It's like always running at like a million miles a second. So it helped to have just all these things. Like it's weird, like having like chaos is what like gave me peace in a way. So cities have always like been pretty fascinating to me. And then after my last career ended, I spent some time just traveling around and hitting all the different cities in the world, and it was just crazy, like seeing how these things that like us as like the human race have like created just work in like different ways. Like it's really fascinating. I don't think like we stop to like think about it, especially in like a city, right? Like things are just going. Like a lot of people don't really stop to like look around and just appreciate like these amazing creations that we've made, like as like a single entity, you know.
Yeah, I always try and
Yeah.
sorry, I always try and encourage people to look up when they're walking around the city. So many people are just, you know, concentrating on their feet or where they're trying to get to, or and especially, you know, in Europe, you know, where some of the architecture is just phenomenal when you look up, or when you're in a major city with these incredible skyscrapers and stuff. You know, it's definitely take the time for that. Today we're obviously kind of concentrating on Chicago because that's where we made the film. It's your hometown. But yeah, you have been all over the world. I love the stuff you've done in Hong Kong and across Asia and, you know, throughout Europe. James has actually put a question in the chat. And he says, Alex, first of all, the One Day, One Photographer episode was inspiring. But if you had a wish list of cities to visit and photograph, what would be at the top of your list?
Oh, I hit a lot of them. There are a lot of them in Asia. You know, I've gone through Japan, South Korea, China, Singapore. I guess now, like, I would really love to visit, like cities like Buenos Aires, or what's the capital of Brazil? The one with like the Redeemer, the statue.
Rio?
Rio. Yeah, Rio would be cool.
Anton, you're muted.
I've never been to South America.
I was going to say
I've
Rio's
done
not
some-
the capital.
Yeah, I was going to say Rio, but it's not the capital. It's the major one, but it's not the capital. So what
Well, I
is
wanna
it,
see
Anton?
both.
I can't remember.
Never ask geography questions on a live stream. Did they?
I should know that one. I really should.
You're Googling it as we speak.
I do.
I'm sure someone will let us know in the chat window. So, but as you visit all these incredible cities, I'm sure your kind of bucket list just changes and you add new places, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like checking off. It's like a bucket list. You're just checking off, you know, things that you're accomplishing, I guess, one thing at a time. Like I really want to do, South America. Like I've done some Europe. I haven't done a majority of it. I want to start going into like the Middle East. Oddly enough, you know, doing some of like maybe some more ancient, you know, cities. I think that'd be really cool. Yeah, and then more Asia. Like I want to go into China. I've only kind of skirted the border. You know, Shanghai, Hong Kong, Guangzhou. Those are all kind of on the east side, closest to the west, and I want to keep going east, or I want to keep going west.
It's a big world, and you know we've seen a lot of it, but there's just so much more to do. You know, with the films project, Anton, we've been fortunate enough to travel to some incredible places around the world, but man, we've only just scratched the surface. You know.
Yeah, so many places, so little time.
Where would you like to go next?
Yeah. Gosh, I haven't spent much time in South America at all, so I have to echo what Alex just said. I think Peru would be awesome. Argentina would be awesome. And then Asia, you know, we've only had films in Japan, I think. I think to shoot in Thailand, Vietnam, China would be amazing. So again, like so many places we've been, but there's, you know, much more to see. And, you know, it's really, for me, it's about the photographers we're following. So what they're excited about, I get excited about, for the film's sake, that is. Like Alex, you know, that's why one of the reasons we chose Chicago, and he says it in the film, is that it's so concentrated that we can film a lot in one day. But that being said, I hadn't really seen Chicago like the way I'd seen it with Alex, and it really is perfect for what he does and even what I do. You know, it's accessible, it's urban, it has history, but it's modern. It's got a great mix in such a small area. So just a shout out to Chicago. I thought it was perfect
awesome.
backdrop.
It's an awesome city. I thoroughly loved the time I spent in Chicago over the years, and just one of my favorite cities. Just great vibe, especially on St. Patrick's Day. It's really good on St. Patrick's Day.
Oh yeah, we dye the river green.
Yeah,
it's a good time.
The whole river's green. I couldn't believe it the first time I saw it. So
Seriously?
yeah, they dyed the whole river
I gotta
green.
see that. I gotta Google that.
I'm sure
No,
it's invited.
oddly enough, I don't have a picture of like a good picture of the river dying. It's some people will get in a helicopter, they'll go up there and they'll get kind of like the river shot, but it's just bright green. It's really
Yeah.
really cool.
I want to say is it Fox River? Is that
No, that's the Chicago River.
Chicago River? Sorry, I'm mistaken there. Mike asked a question: do you have any images of the Opera House from the side by the Chicago River? Really love that it's shaped like a chair and faces west to dig in at the New York Opera.
I don't think I do.
That?
Opera House. Which building is that?
Let me see.
Yeah, Chicago Opera House. Anyway,
yeah,
it's maybe one you can check out.
I think like Chicago is honestly like one of the best cities to serve for like guys like me that are kind of coming out of the younger generation, I guess, of creators and photographers. Like it's a great launching pad. I created a community back home that is still thriving, even though I've left. I've since brought on other people to kind of just like carry the torch, but it's just a great place for people to explore, similar to like what me and Anton did. They just explore. They kind of get creative with like their surroundings, and again, like the cool thing about Chicago is that we get all sorts of weather patterns. So like people will go out and shoot in the negative like 20-degree weather that we get when when everything's frozen over. And then there's we have the Manhattan Henge is famous, but Chicago also has its own Henge event, and it happens twice a year, and that's become a really really big event for photographers where everyone just gathers at the end of a specific street. It's crazy, like there'll be 100 people just there, just trying to get these shots. I actually sold that one of my original like henge pieces at a gallery out here recently. So it's kind of like an homage to that.
Yeah. Is it this one?
It wasn't that one. It was the
one.
other one. I don't know if you have the more closer up of the train and the light kind of like piercing through it. But,
yeah, I think I do. So just so you know, folks, I put together, we have this little gallery of Alex's work here that we're going to talk about, but since he started mentioning
that one,
we thought we'd pull it up. So yeah, this is this henge moment. There's, as you say, there's several of them around the world where twice a year the sun just lines up directly down the street. But yeah, this is a great one. I love the fact you kind of hid the sun, right? The sun features in so many henge shots, but this one, I just love the fact that it's telling a much more interesting story by not having the sun bang in the center of it. It's a really great shot.
Yeah. The thing I love about this is I don't know if you can zoom into it, but if you see the silhouettes on the train, like it's
I don't think I can zoom in too much. Let's see.
Well, you can see the guy where the sun is peeking through right there. I've always loved that part.
Through the door.
It just like, for me personally, that's like me. That's what I used to do, like sit on this train and commute every day. I wouldn't even, I worked downtown for 4 or 5, almost 5 years. I did this every day. I never once looked outside the window. Like that guy, he probably didn't even realize we were
staring at his phone, probably, right?
Yeah. So it's like, it has a lot of meaning to me, like just personally, in that way.
Yeah, that's cool. Big metaphor there. Let's look at this gallery now that we've pulled up some of these images. You mentioned like early in your career. We say early, you just you're so young, but the not to make myself feel old or anything, but you mentioned that early in your career you did a lot of drone work, and I'm assuming this is a drone shot.
Yeah, that's the drone shot.
Yeah, I love this shot. It's very kind of insurrection like, with the folded universe type things. So just wonderful shot. This did really well recently on Flickr. It made the Explore page on Flickr, and it's a great shot. And is the junction, is that all? That's all the L, right? That's all the elevated train platform.
Yep, it is. Yeah, the white one is the pink line, I believe, and then the brown one is either the purple or brown. And like the coolest thing, I didn't intend this at all, and I didn't even notice it till someone brought it up, was that diagonally like split, there's like a brown and dark side, and then like a white, brighter side. And I had not intended that at all. It just like adds just kind of like another element.
Yeah, it's
To
almost
it.
like it's color graded on one side differently from the other side. It really is cool.
Yeah.
There's another fun detail in here. If you can zoom in to like the very very top, that parking garage.
Which on
Right
at the
there.
very top, right there.
Yeah, right there. Yeah, if you zoom in there
See,
like a little bit more, you can see my friend there on the left.
just there, hanging out.
Yeah, because we were up there. I think I spot healed like my backpack out of like the parking lot part, but I never actually realized that he was there like taking the shot as well. So he's forever enshrined in this photo.
Forever enshrined. That's pretty good. Little Easter egg in the
Yeah.
photograph. That's really cool. We'll look at some more in a second. You mentioned the community you worked with in Chicago. You're talking about chai shooters.
Yeah, it was something that was just born out of like love. I think like when I started, like I didn't really feel like there was a lot of support just like within the community, within I guess like arts traditionally, and sadly like it doesn't promote that really. Like it's artists are very individual, like self kind of motivated people. So it's like it was there's a gap I felt, and I felt like through things like Instagram, which is like how I started to develop my interest and passion is it was originally through that Instagram community and like meeting people and just like coming across someone's work and locally and just being like, hey, I love your work, like let's shoot, like we should definitely shoot it and go out and stuff, and that just kept like snowballing to the point where I started a local community where we unfortunately the pandemic like took a lot of it out, but we used to host some really cool events, some meetups and photo walks, and it got to the point where like 2 summers ago we were hosting these events and like a couple hundred to like 300 people would come out to them.
Yeah.
It was like pretty insane. We would do like paid events in galleries and they would sell out. It was a really fun time.
Yeah, we were very fortunate to be part of some of them. We sponsored some of them with our Flickr brand to support the chai shooters community there. And your events were a lot of fun, a lot of themed events, and a lot of fun. Hopefully, we can get back to doing some of that very very soon.
That'd
good.
Would love to.
Yeah,
let's look at everyone loved them too.
Yeah, great times, great community spirit, really, just engagement amongst like-minded people. It was a lot of fun. And we've done, with Flickr, we've done photo walks, since we started Flickr back in 2002. It's been a huge part of the communities around the world. In fact, last April, we were going to do worldwide photo walk day and have photo walks in every major city around the world, had it all lined up, and well, we know what happened. So that got cancelled pretty quick. Let's look at some more photographs while we've got this gallery here. If you have any questions about Alex's work, about the photographs we're looking at, about if you want tips on where to shoot in Chicago, get those questions into the chat and I'll ask them of Alex. So we've looked at those two. You spoke about Chicago having weather and having some very seasonal weather to it. This one kind of tells that story with the Hancock Tower, right?
Yeah. There's if you follow any Chicago photographers, you've probably seen some stuff like this. Like for whatever reason, it's a rainbow, just like magnet. Like I think it's mostly because of the lakefront. It's just like and the terrain, like it's so flat, so storms move in and move out super quick, and sometimes you can line it up with like the golden hour or like really good light late in the day. And this was one where it was like right before like peak golden hour, like at the end of the day, sunset, so the light was coming from off the right, because off to the right where the clouds are headed is east, and then directly west is into the dark over the lake. But yeah, you can pair up some crazy stuff like low fog and rainbows Lightning is a big one. I don't have any great lightning shots, unfortunately, but there's a lot of local guys that chase that stuff and have really, really, really good stuff. So you can get a little bit of everything in the city, which is, yeah, what makes it so unique.
There's an idea, Anton, for another film. Go back and do some lightning shots in the
Absolutely.
city. So
Yeah, lightning.
where was this shot from? Is this drone? Is this from a helicopter? What's
This is a drone.
this drone?
So yeah, I will preface that like a lot of my Chicago work is like drone work when I was like a little bit more fearless, and nowadays I'm probably not as inclined to do it just because it's not really worth it. And nowadays I am like flying more to get shots, so it's, I just want to respect people that are, the safety of people that are flying, because it is something that is like a very new, like drones are such a new thing even now. Like I started like 3 years ago, and those rules are still very, very like loose, especially in Chicago. Like I've seen some people do some like really, really dumb things. And fortunately, like nothing like really bad has happened yet, but it's almost like I don't want to jinx it, but it's like it's a matter of time, so it's like I I guess like I'm glad I did it, obviously, because like these shots are great, but yeah, just wanted to like preface with that I'm well aware of
Follow the rules.
Like, yeah.
I mean, we're the same. Anton and I have been flying drones, making SmugMug films for 9 years now, Anton. And when we first started, there's it was anything goes, right?
Well, it was just something you could buy off the shelf and fly. There were no regulations at all. I mean, fortunately for us, we were flying that we didn't have to do a lot of flying in cities and stuff. We were off somewhere in the middle of nowhere, but yeah, it's always a question, of where you can fly, and of course, now that with regulations, where you can travel with a drone, even let alone fly one. So yeah, it's a touchy situation, but the footage and photographs you get from them are so amazing that they're such a valuable part of your bag that you want to figure out how to fly it and do it safely, because I mean, it's awesome.
It's incredible what you can get. Yeah, some of the favorite moments with you, Anton, have been getting these incredible drone shots, and maybe we could call it fortunate that we did it years ago before these rules were there. But as you say, we've never really done it anywhere where we were doing anything crazy. And of course, as a brand, when we release these films, we're accountable, so we have to follow the rules, and of course you should. So, but yeah, epic shots, and good times.
Good times, yeah.
This looks like a drone shot, but it's not, probably. Now that I know where this was shot from, because we went there, but this is a pretty awesome perspective. Like, this is a great example of Chicago right here, how just things line up, and it's just really pretty.
Imagine if the river was green.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's a great shot. The first time I ever went to Chicago's was in the late 80s, and I was one of the buildings I was most exciting to see is the buildings right in the center there. I can't remember the official name of them, but remember they were really famous from the movie Bullet, where they did the car chase.
Alex called them the corn cob. Those buildings.
That's the informal name. Yeah, it's just the corn cobs.
Corn cobs. And that lower section is a car park. So they did this. There's this whole car sequence in the Bullet, and then they drive the car right out into the water. Yeah.
Really? I've never seen the movie, but
maybe I'll watch it now.
Steve McQueen.
It's Steve McQueen. That's the very guy. So, and again, very, very turbulent weather. Which, forgive me, but a lot of times when you think about the US, you're thinking, big blue skies, big open skies and stuff. But there's definitely these coastal cities like Chicago and San Francisco and stuff where you have these very microclimates, and extreme weather creates extreme photography, which is what we try to capture.
Yeah, another thing that I don't really have much of that happens frequently is like if a storm front comes in from the opposite side, like earlier in the day, you get these crazy shelf clouds. I don't know if you've seen shots of like just these massive, scary clouds, but there's some shots out there where it just looks like Chicago's going to be engulfed by like a giant cloud monster
Big
that are hanging
wall.
out there. Yeah,
This-
it's really crazy.
This image needs a little bit of explanation, I think, Alex.
Yeah, this is another one of those I probably wouldn't do today things, but I'm really glad I did it at the time. I just saw like me and my friend Max in there. He's the one sitting in the tent actually. You know, you always see like the camping in the wilderness tent shots,
Yeah.
you know, with tent in front of a mountain, and thought I'd put it on its head and do it in a urban environment. And I had access and knew how to get up to this location where it's literally just like the perfect lineup for something like that.
Yeah.
So I actually I bought this tent. It's like a $30 tent off of Amazon. It was really funny. I wish I could like share something because like the promotional picture was just like kids running in front of like the tent. It was like really funny. But yeah, I brought it up here. We somehow managed to like get it to stay still and not blow away. Put Max in there, waited till like dusk. The sky, everything about this shot is like real, which is great. Like we just got a really, really good sunset and lineup and clouds and everything. And yeah, the rest is history. The way I got above this too is if you are standing where the tent is and you look back, there's actually a really big sign. It's pretty prominent in Chicago. So you also had to climb up to the sign, and yeah, it was a bit risky.
As you say, you typically see these shots and it's, you know, the Milky Way or, you know, a million stars or someone with a head torch or something like that. So it's, I love this interpretation of, you know, the million stars being all the lights and all the buildings and that type of stuff is really, really cool.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah,
I want to say Sears Towers, but it's not called Sears Tower anymore, right?
No, it's the Willis now.
Willis, yeah.
Yeah.
Willis Tower. It was a Sears Tower when I was up it. It will ever be the Sears Tower.
History.
Yeah. Right, let's see what we've got next. Oh, another moody shot of the river taxis. Great placement. Great placement of the river taxi there.
Yeah, that's a little hidden gem of Chicago too. We have these water taxis that just ferry people up and down the river. I guess like this shot is pretty classic just because I think when people think of Chicago, they think of this. They think of like the blues, right? Like kind of melancholy and depressing, and it can be definitely in like the winter months and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, another good way to characterize the city.
Yeah, it can be brutal in the winter. Speaking of winter, let's jump to some of these shots here. I love this with the gaslight lamps and the L and the snow. Very instantaneously. You know, this is Chicago, maybe New York if you weren't too familiar, but yeah, it's an awesome shot.
Yeah, you know, it's pretty crazy. Like I think these shots are becoming rarer too. Like this was only like 3 years ago, and unfortunately I think it is due to like climate change. We don't get a lot of snow. We definitely don't get blizzards like this as much anymore. It's pretty rare to get this type of like heavy snowfall now. So yeah, I'm really glad that like, you know, I was, I guess, in like the right mindset and stuff to like go out in these type of conditions to like do this stuff. We would like bundle up in giant like in our snow pants and like everything and go out there and just like mob around. And yeah, you know, I hope it like happens again, but yeah, it's just kind of like becoming more of a rare event.
Well, you're definitely not going to see them now you live in LA, right? You're not going to get this shot unless the weather really messes up, which I wouldn't put it past it right now. Who knows? Maybe you will get snow in LA. Do you ever get snow in San Diego, Anton?
No, not even close.
You barely get rain. That's the thing I noticed.
Yeah.
It rained for a day.
It'll hail here a couple times a year. That's about it.
Do you all go crazy?
Yeah, we all run to the window and watch it. And it lasts, 4 minutes of hail, and then that's it.
instantly melts as it hits the hot ground.
Yeah.
This location actually features in the film, right?
Yeah, I think that's the same location. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Trump Tower at the end there.
Yeah, I just noticed that.
Kind of
Yep.
shows you where it is. So yeah, if you go watch the film, folks, you'll see this location as these two gentlemen run around Chicago. Another classic location. I actually want to jump to a few shots that you had. Forgive me for skimming through some of these. This sequence of shots here. Tell us a little bit about this, because there's a whole sequence of shots here with these trails in them. What was going on here?
It was a project that I did during the pandemic, so last summer. Actually, like right around this time, like July, August, where everything was shut down. All the cities across the world were just shut down and empty. And I had the idea to do a project to kind of raise money and just help like different organizations in whatever way I could, and tell a story. So the light trail basically signifies kind of like that, like that ethos or like spirit, still kind of like moving and like meandering through the city, like kind of like representing like that old the old bustling times, I guess. There's a better way to explain it, but yeah, you get what I mean. So so we did this over a couple of weeks. We just went out, and then for these two specific shots, we got lucky with some really cool like rainy conditions, where you get like these really cool artifacts and reflections, and yeah. So I put these up for sale. I made a whole website. I'm not sure if it's live anymore. I don't think it is, but we called it the Chicago Ethos Project. Put these up for sale, and donated the proceeds to some local organizations that were like handing out meals and doing some other sorts of COVID relief, small business relief, because there's a lot of crazy things going on with looting and stuff at the time too. Yeah, and it was my first time doing something like that, like a very, very personal project, and a very themed project. So, yeah, these will hopefully like over time just continue to grow and like in meaning and get more eyes. I think like definitely like locally, it's been seen a lot. Like I'm very good friends with the 360 Chicago guys. So going back to that rainbow image, that tower. Those guys really support my work, and they put up a few of these images in their own showcase in like the observation deck up top. So
very interesting. I kind of interpreted this as like the spirit of all the people that couldn't be in the city. Kind of the spirit was still there as it kind of made its way through the city. A couple of questions come in there as we were showing those images. So let's jump to the questions. Bilal asks, do you use a tripod, long exposures, etc.? I guess for those shots specifically as well, right?
Yeah, those ones definitely you have to. So I had some help from some friends, and they would kind of hit the shutter, and I would actually take one of these guys, these little guys, just like a little loom cube. I don't know if you can see this.
Right, because that Kathy did ask as well, how did you do the light streaks?
Yeah, so light painting has always been like fascinating to me, and yeah, I just use one of these with a little modifier, just a little diffuser. That's how the light looks like, very soft. And then yeah, so then you turn this on. Basically, it took a lot. So like that's the kind of like the behind the scenes, I guess, you don't see, is that a lot of those images took a lot of tries to like nail. So I probably did each of them like 10 times at least to like nail
the trails look so smooth and consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really cool.
Really milky, and it's almost like a neon tube that's been stretched through the city.
Yeah. I actually have, I wish I prepared it. I actually have a lot of behind the scenes videos of me like kind of painting these things. It's really funny.
Cool.
I'm just running around like waving this thing around. And
Well,
it's really
we'll
fun.
have you back on the show. Maybe we'll do a behind the scenes shot, and you can show us some of these tips and tricks on how you do some of this stuff.
Aside from
Yeah.
these shots, though, you don't use a tripod a whole lot, though. At least it didn't seem like it when we were out. I guess for your
Yeah.
night stuff, you need it.
Yeah, I think
Otherwise-
yeah, definitely low light stuff. But otherwise, yeah, I'm pretty run and gun. Similar to how like Anton shoots his films, like just you kind of just just be
Figure it
ready.
out as you go.
You figure it out. You like put yourself in situations, right? And you just figure it out.
I mean, I did see one
Yeah.
comment on YouTube where they said,
Yeah.
how did he get that long exposure without a tripod? But
There was a question
that's kind of a
specifically about
testament
the flowers when you were in the tulip shot, photographing you're dragging the shutter and getting the blur in the taxi. People were asking how specifically you'd done that without a tripod.
Yeah, yeah, I just did that. Anton will tell you I just did that by hand. Slow the shutter down, fire away, and hope you get lucky. I shot that actually with. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say it's a testament to like image stabilization too these days. I think
I was literally
Right,
about to
yeah.
say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I shoot with a couple cameras, but that one I was shooting with a mirrorless that is stabilized. So, yeah, it made it like really easy.
He's also young and well caffeinated, so that helps to.
That would make me like jittery.
Yeah, caffeine. Yeah.
The opposite effect. Let's see. Groundhog 11ish was asking how long is the exposure. So those shots, you have any idea how long-ish that kind of exposure was for these?
It was probably only like 2 or 3 seconds. It wasn't long because, yeah, the whole point is like to keep it open long enough to get that little streak. So when I was doing this, I was literally like sprinting, just like waving it through real quick,
Huh.
Yeah.
So nothing super crazy.
Where's
Actually,
that
when I do
honeycomb
long
location?
exposures,
Sorry.
that's at Lincoln Park Zoo. I don't know if we went there. I don't think we went there.
No.
That would have been
It
actually a
looks
really good
cool,
filming
though.
spot.
Can you scroll up?
Oh, sorry,
Alex,
this one?
there?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that one.
Yeah,
Pretty
Like a
interesting.
walkway. Yeah.
yeah. That's the cool thing about Chicago is it's got a ton of really unique architecture throughout the city and just cool little designs and stuff. Yeah, a lot of gems.
Yeah.
Indeed. There was a few comments on the film as well about the fact you freaked a lot of people out because you don't use a camera strap. Now, I also don't use a camera strap, but yeah, you're hanging out a lot of buildings and you were freaking people out the fact you didn't have a strap. So
Yeah.
you take the risk, folks. But speaking of hanging out of buildings, let's have a look at this one. So this little location is pretty famous. You call it a classic in the film of Chicago. Somewhere that's a really interesting spot.
Yeah, it's I guess a classic in the at least the social media world.
Yeah.
It's really, really popular because it's super accessible. But yeah, you can see kind of why it is super popular. It's just compositionally like an amazing lineup. Get the reflection and everything. Is definitely one of like the first things that just got me interested in photography. Where I went up there and it's just crazy, right? Where you put a lens where you can't actually physically put yourself and how perspective changes. And yeah, that's why it's like special to me, because it definitely was one of those things that opened my eyes a little bit.
I've got some more pictures here of this location because in the photograph, in the film, you're seen leaning out of here to take that shot, but we also have this little cool behind the scenes shot, which is Anton doing his thing. So
that's a camera taking a photo of me shooting
Yeah.
a video of a person, Alex in this particular case, taking a photo. So there was actually 3 cameras out on that ledge at that moment.
Inception on Inception on Inception.
Yeah, exactly.
And the shot you took with that, Alex, I think is this one. So there you go.
Yeah. Yep.
So there's Anton. Oops, sorry, folks. Let me get that back in. Anton leaning out. What a great reflection. You can see why it's such a popular spot where you get that.
Yeah, look at that when you zoom in. It
melting.
looks awesome.
Doesn't that
It's
look
pretty
incredible?
epic. Yeah, it's really epic.
Cool.
And it's just like represents Chicago. Like you have the train, you know, and the elevated line. That's what it's famous for. You know, it's just a lot to love about this spot.
Yeah. So like Alex, like this particular location, like when you were coming up in photography, you had seen these photos and you thought, hey, I'm going to go there and check it out and shoot something. So like, have you found like the way you take photos and what you look for has changed as it, you know, from going to locations that are known for its perspective to finding and seeking places yourself and then making those places popular, you know?
Yeah.
You find, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely changed over time. I think like that the one thing that is a downside about shots like this and these spots is that they're very popular and it's very hard to get, you know, make your own work stand out from other people's shots. But I think it was necessary. Like I think like, you know, I spent a lot of time, like I said, when I was traveling, like just checking out different cities. I would meet up with people and like we would hit these different spots and you know, they're usually shots that when you think of like a city like Chicago or New York or Hong Kong, like they're fairly not common shots, but they're shots that you've probably seen before. And yeah, I think it was like an important part of my growth because like it taught me, I guess, what to look for. And nowadays, I'm spending a lot more time trying to come up with like really unique concepts and ideas. I guess like that light trail one was kind of like a precursor to, right? Like starting to think outside the box and like create something unique. Those obviously relied on those spots still, but it was doing something different in those spots.
Sure.
And so nowadays, it's a continual like process of growth. You know, once you get past all the technical stuff, the technical learning phase and stuff like that, you just try to find ways to like make your shots more interesting. And now I'm trying to create stuff that, you know, nobody else can really create. Not like in that way where it's like, it's just that's I think like the evolution of an artist, right? It's just like you got to keep trying to push your craft and stuff. Yeah.
I think you could ask any landscape photographer that you can go back to the same spot over and over for years, and the lighting, the traffic, the weather can always be different. So you can still capture unique unique photos from the same perspective, I suppose, right?
Right.
But,
absolutely.
That's these
true.
are some cool. Yeah, I like this shot right here.
Yeah, this is cool.
All lines
really
are
cool
leading towards Alex's head.
Yeah. Let's. I've got a cool little video. So obviously, when you were making this, Anton, you had to stick your video camera through this little gap to then get it outside to photograph Alex. So we've got a very short but kind of fun little clip as you did that. So cool. Sorry if you have vertigo, folks, watching that, but
these cameras are. I mean, iPhones are. You know, camera phones. The phones on your camera are so good now that's always part of the day, right?
Yeah, playing about,
amazing.
doing some fun stuff. Right, we've got a couple of questions to finish, and then we'll round things up. Morrow, thank you for your question. Morrow's with us every week. Thank you for your support, Morrow. He says, "Hi, Alex. In many of your wonderful pictures, it looks like you are positioned on private grounds, parkings and rooftops. How do you deal with access and copyright?"
Yeah, that's again going back to what I was mentioning with the drones and kind of just sending it with things. I'm a lot more conscious of these things now. Before it was just we were just having fun, exploring, and we would just try to sneak in and stuff like that. To be perfectly honest, luckily I haven't had to deal with anything really. Yeah, it's just I think it was part of like that learning and growth process. So.
Yeah,
and from the time when we shot this with Alex, by the way, Chicago seemed just a little more accessible than a lot of other cities.
Yeah.
LA in particular, and New York, you know. But yeah, and that was the other reason I liked shooting there. It was accessible, I guess is the best word. But yeah.
Yeah, we shot on a day. So yeah, when Anton and I were there, it was on a weekend, or was it during the week? I forget. But it
It
was
was over
pretty
the
empty
weekend, I
though.
think. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it was on the weekend because I remember actually explaining this to you. Where Chicago's a very bizarre city where like I mean the pandemic kind of like like multiplied the effect, but even during normal times, Chicago's one of those cities that when everyone's not at work, the city is empty.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what gave us that freedom to like explore. Like we go during just dead times during like later in the evening or on the weekends, and it was literally our playground. So we could just go like pretty much everywhere. No one would really care, and you know we had that freedom to kind of just like create and have fun. So and it's still true to this day. Like you can still just, I mean, we just did it, you know, in May. You know, you can still run around and just get access to
Yeah.
these
You
things.
see Alex running around like the streets at it was only maybe 10:30 at night and it was empty and you could shoot
Yeah.
in the middle of the street, especially downtown. Yeah, that was really cool. But the L was
Mhm.
still going, you still had that city vibe and kind of gave us some definite freedom to get
Yeah.
creative.
Yeah.
Last question, James asks, do you have a pre-shoot preparation or process? Anything you do before you go out
Um,
shooting to get maybe in the zone or get set up?
mm. Yeah, I would say like as time goes on, especially now if I'm doing like client work, for sure. Like the thing that I actually really love, and I think that I learned through just the way that I learned how to shoot was I really like to build in some like a buffer between uh, like when I'm starting and then when I'm actually shooting. Because for me, like creativity is like a muscle, and it's almost like working out. Like I feel like I have to warm up a little bit. So all and I think we did it like Anton and I did that as well. Like when we first started shooting, it was like, okay, what do we want to do? Like where do we want to go and stuff like that. And then things kind of like as you kind of kept putting yourself out there and um, you know things started churning, that's when like ideas started flowing and we started creating really cool things. It's a mix, I think, of now planning, I guess if I could best describe it, like planning and still leaving enough leeway for things to change and for you to kind of like react to what's like put in your path, I guess. I think that's super like that's super important when it comes to like creativity, right? It's like you can't put yourself in a box, so there's only so much you can prepare for things.
Great stuff. Thank you for answering that. Right, before I say my thanks to you, those of you who are watching, do me a huge favor. Go hit that subscribe button, hit that little bell notification. That way you'll be notified whenever we release another episode here on SmugMug Live. It really helps support the channel. It also helps other people discover the work when they're searching for stuff on YouTube. So thank you for doing that. If you've enjoyed the episode, give it a little thumbs up. Hit that like button and show your support to Alex. Alex, thank you so much for all the time you've given us over the months this year, both with prepping for the film itself, and obviously with launching the film last week. Thank you so much for letting us behind the curtain and into your world a little bit. We really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you guys so much. Like I know it how much work like Anton put into it with filming and editing, and just really appreciate you guys allowing me to come on your platform and share my story and my work and stuff like that. Like it means a lot. Really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Oh,
thank
it's
you.
great.
Yeah, I mean, the whole reason I wanted to shoot Alex was for what we just produced. The energy, the backdrop, the whole thing, his photography. I think it all came together as planned. Like, that's exactly what I wanted to put together for his work. So I'm happy that you're happy.
I'm stoked. This is cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, if you go to the description below, you'll find all the links where you can follow Alex, find his work. You can check out, of course, his Flickr account. So head over to Flickr as well. You can see a lot more of his images there. But all the links are below. Please follow us here on the channel, on SmugMug and Flickr, and yeah, just go check out lots of Alex's work, and of course check out the SmugMug Films playlist here on the channel. You can see all the incredible films we've made over the years at SmugMug Films. Anton, thank you for your time as always. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Alex,
Thank you, Alex.
yeah, thank you so much. We'll catch up with you soon. Wherever you are watching in the world, as always, stay safe, be kind, look after each other, and we'll see you back here for another episode of SmugMug Live very soon. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Bye, guys.